My name is Greg Boitano. I work for Intel, and I'm a product marketing engineer in the IoT space. So our principal product really for my particular group are IoT gateways, which are really used at the edge of the network. And those fit into a larger architecture. Really what Intel has is sort of an end-to-end solution from the cloud to the edge, so from the data center to the edge, and we're one element of that solution.
Walk me through that a little bit. For someone, I suppose like myself, who's not entirely familiar with the Intel ecosystem, draw that picture for me if you would.
Sure. So today you have all these devices that are basically installed. Maybe it's an HVAC system, a heating and air conditioning system that's on the roof of our hotel here. That system has all these sensors in it that are basically gathering data. But that data stays locally typically. So the first element of what I would talk about is the gateway. And the gateway basically allows you to attach it to those existing devices as a way of sort of gathering and centralizing the data. And what you can do then with an IoT infrastructure is use that gateway to help, if you will, link to your back-end cloud, where you can also then pull in information from a large number of gateways, centralize that information, and really turn it into quality information that you can begin to use for other purposes.
So it sounds to me like it's not just a firewall, it's not just a gateway in the sense of a network routing. It's a layer that's providing a number of services that are specific to IoT.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and can you just tell me, if you don't mind, what some of those services are?
Sure. So part of what a gateway could facilitate or help you with is the ability to be able to take in information from a number of disparate systems. So for example, you might have different systems with different protocols that can maybe not work together or work with one another, but the gateway is able to take in all that information together. And for example, because we're here with Informix, one of the things a gateway can also do in conjunction with Informix, Intel IoT gateways have the ability to be able to perform edge analytics. And you need, of course, performance to be able to do that. And we come with both Quark and Atom processors, so we have a range of performance options. But you also need security to be able to do that. And so we have a number of security features that we've actually enabled on the gateway, including the ability to have encrypted data between the edge device, the gateway that is, and the cloud. So we provide really some very impressive security capabilities to help not just give you the information, but to give you secure, trusted environment within which you can actually maintain and transport that information.
From a startup entrepreneur's perspective, maybe someone who is recently funded and now doesn't just have the question of, does my device work, but how does it scale? How would they begin to, first of all, learn about your product? Where do they go? And integrate it into what they're doing?
So I think the best thing to do is really start at Intel.com, and if you look for IoT related information on Intel.com, that's really a primary source. The value of, I think, what Intel will provide to those smaller companies is the ability to provide sort of the infrastructure. So what we do is we take care of the underlying almost physical layer of what you need to be able to harvest that data, to be able to take that data into your cloud and really turn it into information. So we're very encouraged to work with entrepreneurs, developers who really have a great idea. What we really provide them with is that end-to-end architecture so that they don't have to create that. They don't have to invest their time and their effort in figuring out, how do I put these pieces together? We define that architecture for them, and we enable that so that they can focus on the real value of what they do, which is developing their applications and delivering capabilities that customers want and will buy.
So you mentioned edge analytics. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and how it provides value in this ecosystem?
Sure, it's a great question. So as I'm gathering all this, if you will, data that's coming in from whatever devices, maybe it's again, HVAC system on a building, or maybe it's a truck rolling down the road, and I have an Intel IoT gateway on that particular, truck. There are tons of information. The value of performing analytics at the edge on an Intel IoT gateway is that you can begin to be able to filter out perhaps information or data that's not, if you will, as useful to you. You really gather the data that's most important in terms of being able to send back to the cloud. So you're not sending tons of data over a cellular network. You're really limiting the amount of data you transfer, which is important from an expense standpoint. It's also important from the standpoint of storage in the cloud as well. I think the other value of the Intel IoT gateway is because I'm gathering this data locally and because I'm using Informix to do that local analytics, I can also begin to take some local action. You wouldn't want the cloud to tell you, for example, that you need to hit your brakes, right? Your anti-lock brakes. You want to do that locally. The gateway can help to actually take that local action on a very immediate basis, as opposed to having, to share information back and forth to the cloud. So it's really that end-to-end solution, and really with Informix and Intel, you can do both the cloud and the edge device, which is the perfect marriage of both. You're really optimizing the information.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for taking a little time to speak with the Silent Intelligence.
Thank you.